Thanks, everybody. The program, which is to talk, and the next step. Um, this is a really program. Very aware of the program because of the street next to you. You got the streets. Always up for companies through Nashville. High demand program with over 400 applications. We just got done selecting another traffic calming request. They're really coming in faster than we can um, uh, satisfy those. But they're government selected, and that is shown in this pie chart here. Mostly speed and crashes. Mostly, it was really a balanced one. I was looking back, made a few notes here. One is pedestrian destinations category, because you got Coleman Park and you got this thing. You got a couple of destinations. You don't have it. You were really proud. You were ranked 202, so that's good news. You really didn't have a lot of really well balanced. You had a good mix of yeah, maybe true too. Yeah. So anyway, that's what puts you in the program. Regardless, you're here, and I don't want to give any indication this is not funded or anything. This is set. If depending the results of the ballot, we'll move forward with the project. Of course, that's the entire length of Harlin. I know Harlin kind of turns the corner and becomes Drake essentially. That only becomes important when we start talking about the ballot. We'll talk about that in just a second. Your neighborhood is the little blue line here, and then we just like to show some of the other streets in the area. But this is the map that is really new since we met last time. NDOT has put this map together, and I think it does a nice job of showing where other projects are in the area. So we're right here in this green one, and the green projects just indicate that it's in progress. It's been selected, it's in the program, but not implemented it yet. It's still in the works. And so you see a couple of neighbors. Collier was this time as well. So we'll be meeting with them later this week. The blue lines are the ones where you do have devices already. So you see Louise here, Patterson, Veritas. That's where you've already got speed cushions. And then the reason this becomes helpful, I think, is because of the pink lines. Those are streets that have already been applied for. So if you have a neighbor or you're interested in traffic calming on that street, you can go to this thing and look and see, we already have an application for that. So there's really no need to apply for it again. Over here is how you get to it. If you just go to Metro's traffic calming website and scroll down here in the one of the options is the traffic calming tracker, and so that brings up that interactive map. You can look at all of Davidson County through that. It's really a nice tool. Just a little bit about progress and the process. We're here at meeting 2. A few months ago, we were back at meeting 2. It looked like we only moved over 2 circles, but that is kind of a big jump, and we're getting here into the home stretch. now it's the last time people move to the plan and truck substantially from what you saw 2 months ago. We're still a traffic calming based or a speed cushion based traffic plan. Again, all of these, it's the same projects. We'll be using the same cushion configuration. 2 cushions, both of them 7 feet in length, 6 feet wide, 3 inches high. It'll look very similar to what's over there. One difference, and these next few slides are the actual design plans that we have for the street. One difference that is not going to be apparent on these, but we wanted to point out that we will be striping, or we propose to stripe the edge lines on the street. Right now, there is no striping. And so what that will do, and we'll skip ahead a few slides. Right now, it's a 22-foot wide street from one edge of the pavement to the other. What we would propose doing is coming back 1 foot into that and striping the edge lines. That'll give you a little really useful. It's not going to make you feel better if you're walking. It's not that big, but what it does do is kind of visually narrow the street. So it's going to feel a little different, make you feel like you're plan itself cushions up within that now 20-foot wide width. That's still a perfectly fine width. We have a lot of you probably won't notice the difference. If we had put the stripe right on the edge, from a safety standpoint, hopefully there's a little bit of a visual narrowing to it, but a lot of our urban streets, especially, are 20 feet wide. Let me go back. So what we're looking at here is the overall plan. This is the 90-degree turn down at Drake, and then the is where we are. There was some comment about the curve. We have added some warning signs into this plan. Those might be handled in advance and separate outside of this, just through NDOT's typical traffic engineering process. So the meat of this is really the striping and then 5 sets of speed cushions over the length of the street. Let's look at that. So the rest of the slides go into detail. And we like to point this out. You don't have to be able to read it and see it. You're welcome to, and we can look at it in more detail. And what we will do is put these on the Nashville.gov website. So when the ballot comes out and someone logs in to vote, there'll be an opportunity for them to click the link and go look at this and study it all they want to. And the type of detail that you see, this says the speed cushion here is proposed at 28 feet south of the driveway at 3205 Harling. So you got really detailed information about where the speed cushion is going to go. So we can tell you things like that. And to your question, this is starting again on the Drake end. So we'll forward. It's only 2 plan sheets. Help me find. This is us here. Okay. So the first one is once you get around the corner, it's about 2 doors into that. So it's in front of 2931 is about the closest one. You see, I was going to say it's a green roof, but I don't know that is a green roof house. There's a swimming pool across the street. I can see that, but 2930, it's in right across 2930 and 2931. That would be the first one. We don't put any in a curve like that, and so our first opportunity is as you come out of that curve, we would start right there. Well, and most of your traffic, I assume, comes from this direction. Yeah, because they're coming off of Noblesville Road. Well, what we typically do is look at spacing from things like stop signs, which you have here. I don't think you have another stop on the project. I think that's it. So So what we look at is, and then things like 90-degree curves. If you notice here, we stopped short also of this 90-degree turn. That, in a sense, is a traffic calming feature in and of itself, just because it's such a sharp curve. You may not see quite the speed reduction up in this curve, but we don't put these cushions in curves on hills in front of driveways. So that's
really amazing. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. Well, I think you will see some benefit with it the way it is. Especially if there's any traffic coming from this way. That's why I was asking which direction. I agree. I would expect most of it's coming from this direction. And in the distance here before you get to that curve, I don't think there is a speed cushion that would fit in there and probably work. There may be some things like rumble strips that you can put, that just kind of bring some awareness to it. Aside from that, it's going to be more signage and things like that. We can put we could put an advisory speed on these curve signs.
Yeah, very much 5 days. Busy traffic.
Sure. Sure.
Rather put it ahead in advance. Plan, try to hey, this expectation.
Understood. Well, we'll go back and take a look at this part. We did discuss this with NDOT and your concerns about the curve and all. Uh, when you're seeing high traffic kind of in front of or higher speeds in front of your driveway.
Most of the crashes in those ditches coming from
Mm-hmm.
like 2 ways. Or they crash like Walker lumber used to be a parking lot, but right now they blocks. A lot of used to crash there.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, because because of Thompson Lane there, I would think that's most of it. Let us look at it. That's all I can say, and we'll kind of work probably back with you individually, because at this point, I guess these are residential here. Okay, people live in these, but you got a couple of sort of outside these.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did already. I checked online with the parcel plan things last week.
Yeah, I don't know if it's up yet.
Still, my question. They have finalized it or not. What news that I got, and I told them,
Yeah.
I told them that Walker's trying to buy it. What are they going to do with it? I don't understand. See that Christina, please. But it was they going to be sold to Walker. Oh,
Is that because of bushes or cars parked, or what makes the visibility so bad? During summer. Falling, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know that the edge lines will help. They won't hurt. But
Feel they would create those strength.
hope so.
And then, hey, it's really a narrow thing. I don't know.
You see a lot of they'll take that for cover. But you haven't even just from edge striping, you have an idea of how I'm supposed to be passenger wheels on this. Right. And then we looked at that. So any other comments on that? We'll take a look at see if there's anything else we can go through that.
The engine itself, the idea is that metal case, you're gonna step up a little bit, so we're gonna lose all the parking space in this area. But that would be basically made up to be added. And then have this area for buses. When buses come, church buses, just like
Yeah, the thing that's keeping us from putting the thing pushing right stuff. I don't know, but what the reason why we didn't put one in now was because of the curve. But because we don't want
right in front of our entrance, there is no driver. So I think the only reason we did
it's because of the curve. But we don't want a car to hit one of these while the wheels turn. It kind of does better just to be with the drive. Paint. Sometimes they do that. Yeah. The painted on strip. They'll pick more for like where there is a point hazard coming up on the crosswalk here or something. We might do that rumble strip. Those types of I feel like that's true everywhere. But this one, talk for a minute about the ballot process. This is not street, but it's a lot of kind of thing. So let's talk about what we'll do with this. We will send that over, posted online. Then we or against. And I think that's it. You know, we will vote. I mentioned a minute ago the line between Drake and Harlan. We're just going to take addresses. At some point, the address becomes Drake, and we won't ballot that person. We'll consider that to be the end of the street. So we just ballot from the limits of the project, those people that have a property line that is adjacent to the right of way of that street. So we're not getting any side streets. We don't get any cul-de-sacs. If it was a rental property that no, not quite. Good point, though. I'm glad you brought that up. We send it to the owner. So we would send it to the landlord.
Not like you live in that house, but it would be sent to
That's right. Yeah. And even if the landlord lived in Florida, we send it to Tampa, Florida. Yep. 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 Yeah, tenant, they won't see a card at that residence. So one per owner. What about one vote per property? And we just send it to the name on the deed, name at the property assessor's office, and if it's two names on the property, we just send one card to that household. Y'all fight over it. If one wants it, one doesn't, you fight or flip a coin or do whatever you want to do. But you only get one vote. That's it. I don't think there's any churches. Sometimes we have a church or something. I mean,
right on. So.
Okay.
This is actually a really
right. Yeah, any kind of institutional use like this, we don't send, or any of this, you know, and it kind of begs the question too with Walker. If by the time we send the ballots, Walker has bought these and their name is not registered, we won't ballot them. Even if it looks like a building, we look at the use as according to planning. Now, if Walker is still renting the property to a tenant, we would ballot Walker. Or we do our best. That's all I can say. So a little bit about some time frames. That first one may be subject to what we can come up with in plan but typically give us 2 or 3 more weeks, and we will post and we will send these ballot cards out to you, and then that opens up that 6-week time frame for the voting period. Once that comes in, assuming it passes, then we order the materials after that. Metro doesn't have a big warehouse full of traffic calming rubber. That'd be nice. It would speed things up, but we don't order the materials until after the results of the ballot are in. So that's about another 2 months, and then just get it on the schedule for our contractor to install. It's about another 2 months. So we're today looking at late in summer, early fall before we would be doing any. So just to give you some time reference there, don't be expecting this, week. Yeah. There's just a lot of other projects that are all within this kind of this time frame, all over the place. So. Any other questions? Gripes? Thank you. Thank you to the Peace Ambassadors for hosting us twice. Still.
How many times has that ballot been processed?
You can actually look it up now. They've posted all of that on their website.
Some neighborhoods will say no.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not many. I would say. I mean, the average. Last time I looked, I want to say the average pass rate is like in the high 80s, 86, 87%. But yeah, most pass, far and away most pass. Yeah, but we've had a handful. Typically, where we're seeing them have a little more trouble is if the bigger the road is. So if it's like a collector street or a bigger type of a road, people tend to be a little more hesitant there. Or in areas where maybe it's bigger lots and they're set back off of it, and speeding just doesn't affect them as much, I guess. Stuff like that. So hard to pinpoint why they don't pass, but yeah, some don't, most do. I started all this, didn't even introduce myself, but y'all may remember. I feel like I'm with old friends here. I'm Jeff Hammond. Gil Thomas may still be on the call. He was Metro. He was earlier, and so he's our program manager there with Metro. So feel free to reach out to either one of us if you think of other questions, other comments. But with that, I won't hold you. Appreciate y'all coming back out again tonight, and look forward to continuing to work with you. Hopefully it'll be a smooth process and we'll get this thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Good night.